Good morning, chat. So, Mars has been revealed, and based on his traits, he's a very balanced runner. I really love that Bandai actually did that for us. He isn't just straight up killing everybody from across the map. He isn't dropping in and murdering everybody with one skill. He's a balanced runner. He's basically like Doc Q. For those of you that use Doc Q, he's really similar to Doc Q but without teleportation. And he's good, if you get what I'm saying. He can slap people out the flag. He has a counter skill. It's just beautiful. He's going to be very good as a runner, and he's not overly broken. I love that, and I hope Bandai keeps it up. But I don't like how the trend is going, because they were doing the exact same thing with Garp, Kuzan, and Sabo, and then they just screwed us over with Kizaru. Anyway, time to break down the unit's traits. Right? So I'm going to start with his skills, then I'm going to go to his traits, and I'm going to explain who buffs, who counters, and who doesn't counter, what you're going to want to be looking for, and how his traits actually help him to pair up against others. Alright, so I know that I said that he's close to Doc Q, but this skill one is really similar to Marco. Actually, both skills are similar to Marco. So what it does is it basically launches him forward. It's really similar to Marco's skill, where he kind of just pushes people back and just slaps them away. But this one leaves behind a flame. You can see on the screen. It's kind of cool. Next up, we actually have skill 2. Skill 2 is basically really similar to Marco's, but this one does a little attack with it, you know? And this is really cool, right? Because this guy can actually stack defense, and if he stacks his defense with skill 2, it's gonna make it so he barely takes any damage from units like Garp and Kubo. Because Garp and Kubo are really weak against defense. And that it's absolutely beautiful that Bandai decided to do this to prevent him from just being one-tapped by those two. Next up, we actually have a counter skill. The counter skill I'm gonna put on screen, but I'm gonna show you this first. This is the counter. What it does, it basically just slaps everything outside of the flag. And this is an important detail, because this is gonna help really define who his counters are. Okay, so now to kick off the traits, we have character trait 1, right? We know the typical thing with elders, they have gauges. When he gets his gauge, he basically just gets lives and ignores stagger. Makes sense. And this one actually has a special ability. When power gauge is at 3 or higher, recover 50% of percentage damage received from an enemy. That's gonna help against units that do a lot of percentage damage, like Zoro. And when power gauge is 3 or higher and you're capturing treasure, successfully captures it, deals a mid-range area attack that creates a shield. Right? That shield is really cool, because nobody can go inside the flag when it's there, but it barely lasts any time. I think it's like 5 seconds. But it's still cool. That's still very cool. This will deal a fixed percentage of damage. Right? That fixed damage is actually insane though. 25% every single time you capture a treasure is insane. Because it's really gonna help put certain attackers down. And that's cool. That's just cool. The shield will disappear after it receives a certain amount of damage. To be for real, bro, it's just 5 seconds. It doesn't matter. When power gauge is 1 or higher, recover, you know, that's just a typical thing with elders, as I mentioned before. Next up, we actually have his character trait 2. Can ignore the enemy and capture the treasure. That's gonna be disgusting, by the way, because this guy can straight up cap from anywhere. It's not in his traits, so I'm gonna tell you now. He can cap from anywhere in the flag. Not like Luffy, where he can just stay outside, but he can cap from anywhere. So putting down obstacles is not gonna block him. And nullify immobilizing status effects inflicted by enemy. That is beautiful. That's useless though, since he has his gauge that basically blocks it anyway. When you capture the treasure, oh wait, now I know why they put it like that. It's so because this guy doesn't start with gauges, so if he runs to middle flag, Nosjuro would just be able to freeze him and kill him. So I'm glad they actually gave that to him. When you capture the treasure, boost power gauge by 1 and recover HP by 30%. Just a typical thing. When attacking an enemy, 100% chance to increase def. The defense stacks are beautiful. It's gonna prevent units like Garp and Kubo from one-shotting you, and that is beautiful. right? Reduce the cooldown time of skill 1. That is also beautiful. You can use it to run away. When attacking an enemy with a transform skill while capturing treasure, boost power gauge by 1. Also beautiful. So what that's gonna do is basically make it so he's not gonna die very easily. He can constantly get his gauges back, and he can use that against most of the defenders in the meta, because I don't think there's a single defender in the meta except for Saturn that can bypass lives. So it's absolutely beautiful that they even gave him, it's coming up, but they even gave him a trait so he doesn't get HP cut by units of the weaker elements. So Saturn won't be able to HP cut him and one-shot him. So no defender in the meta right now, I mean none, kills him. And that is beautiful. Alright, and now to end off his pretty short trait page, Lowkey. It's actually kind of short. We have his basic traits. Right, when in the area around your enemy's treasure, resist stagger being down and boost capture speed by 50%. So you have to knock him back to stop him. It's exactly like a law. For a set period of time after using skill 2, resist stagger being down, knock back, and when attacked by an enemy whose skill can evolve, reduce damage received by 50% and enemy's attack reduced by 20% for 3 seconds. That's gonna help him a little bit against Zonji, but it doesn't save him entirely, and I'll explain later. Trait 2, when the power gauge is at maximum capacity, boost the cooldown reduction speed of skill 1 by 100%. That's actually beautiful. That's gonna make it so he can run around a lot. When attacked by an enemy who can use power gauge, reduce damage received by 50%. And the enemy attack reduced by 30% for 10 seconds. If he doesn't have stacks, this is gonna make it so Garp can one-shot him still. So you're gonna need your stacks. When attacked by an enemy with the element you are strong against, nullify max HP reduction. That's gonna block him from being killed by Saturn. But you can pierce Saturn with Stussy to fix that issue. After receiving damage from an enemy which is 20% or more of your max HP, recover HP by 30%. So basically what that trait does is it basically just prevents him from being murdered by units that ignore defense very easily. But it doesn't save him entirely, and once more I'll explain again later. Now let's start with the counters, right? I'm gonna go from the biggest counters to the smallest counters, meaning the units that do well against him but they don't really fully counter him, but they do a lot against him. Anyway, starting I have Kalgura, right? Or Kalgara, that's his name. Kalgara is going to bully this unit. If you know how Kalgara works, using hold skills near this man or even spamming counters and flags is not going to save you from him. So what Kalgara is basically going to be able to do is he's going to use his hold skill and murder, and I mean murder, this unit. And even though he has defense stacks which would save him from Kalgara, because of how diabolical Kalgara's hold skill is, it's not going to really save him. So you can use Kalgara and murder this guy. And Kalgara actually gets stacks whenever you try and take a flag, so that's going to really help. Anyway, next up I actually have Zoro Sanji. Zoro Sanji is still going to bully this man. I know that basically what they were trying to do with that trait that basically takes 20% of Zoro Sanji's attack and also gives him damage reduction, that was supposed to stop Zoro. But the crazy thing is with Zoro Sanji, I don't remember which of the two, but Zoro I think actually takes a bit of your defense when he attacks you. So if Zoro actually takes a bit of your defense and immediately switch to Sanji, he's gonna still be able to one-shot you, because Sanji ignores that damage reduction that he gets, and that's gonna really murder Mars, right? If a stacked Zonji finds you, even with that debuff, it's gonna basically have it so they still have 55% attack, and 55% attack is still a lot, so they're still going to be able to murder you, right? That 20% debuff, and it's only for 3 seconds. I don't know why Bandai did that. 3 seconds is not gonna save you from Zonji. Anywho, moving on, I actually have Lucci. Lucci's gonna be a bit difficult because he has the counter-ish skill. It's not a counter, it's an attack, but it's really similar to a counter. But this one, it doesn't need to be like triggered in order for it to attack, if you get what I'm saying, and it just pushes you out the flag. Anyway, when you actually realize it, Lucci's gonna be able to murder him because he ignores the defense and he doesn't really have any of the traits or tags required for him to be debuffed by Mars. So he's just gonna be able to just sit on the flag and slowly whittle him down and just pop skill 2 and murder him. Was it skill 2 or skill 1? Ryukyugun. I don't remember which skill it is, but yeah. If he uses that while he's on the flag, it's wraps. But if Mars keeps triggering that annoying counter skill, it's gonna give Lucci a little bit of issue. That's why I couldn't put him any higher. If he didn't have the counter, it would easily murder him. Now for the next counter, I actually have Marshall D. Teach. Right, Marshall D. Teach is going to bully this man. Right, even if you do run, he can just pull you off the flag, man. Like, it's just gonna be so funny. Anyway, Marshall D. Teach, Blackbeard, whatever you want to call him, he ignores defense. Right, and even if he gets slapped by that 30% attack debuff because he has the gauges, he can still stack up to 45%. Right, and he's still gonna hit hard with 45% attack stack, because even if you're debuffed, you still can get your stacks, but it's gonna be reduced by a bit. Anyway, all you gotta do is lower him down a bit and just pop Tremor Crush and he's finished. Simple as that. And make sure that you're light. Light is gonna help a lot. Dark is gonna do a little bit of damage. But yeah, Marshall D. Teach is gonna be able to do very well, but he's gonna struggle a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I mean a tiny bit, mainly because he loses a bit of his stacks. The next counter on my list is S-Snake. And S-Snake is gonna be able to easily stall him. S-Snake won't be able to kill Mars, but S-Snake is gonna be able to easily stall Mars and prevent him from doing anything while she's on the flag. Alright, S-Snake is gonna be a plague for this man. And to make it worse, S-Snake actually has a trait where she removes defense stacks from runners. And this guy does not have immunity to parameter debuffs. So he's just basically screwed. Because she's also going to nerf his damage even if he attacks her. Anywho, the worst part of this all is that when S-Snake hits you, you're now even more susceptible to Zoro Sanji because you don't have defense stacks. So Sanji's gonna have a way easier time murdering you. Garp is going to one-shot you the second you lose your defense stacks. Kubo is going to one-shot you. Kagara is gonna have an easier time. It's just not gonna be fun. It's not gonna be fun. S-Snake really buffs her team the second she touches you. And that's gonna be an issue, a massive issue for Mars. But I'm still very happy, regardless of all of that, that he's balanced. And that's pretty much the end of my list. Kizaru too might be able to do a little something. He can basically just troll you the entire time and constantly lower your gauges because he cannot be hit by your counter skill unless you hit him once. And he's gonna abuse that and just keep trolling you and annoying you the whole game. So Kizaru can definitely be an annoyance to you. But he's not really a counter, but Kizaru is gonna be usable in this meta. And last but not least, I actually have a honorable mention, right? Who is this honorable mention? Sengoku. Sengoku has been pretty disappointing since his release, but he's gonna be able to do something in this meta, right? Sengoku, when he's in the Buddha form, has a fat, and I mean fat, attack that he can actually use on Mars. He can stay outside the flag. When he sees Mars start capping, Mars is gonna be vulnerable in that moment, right? You pop the skill, the whole skill, boom. Mars cannot move now because he lost his dodges. And you're gonna slowly whittle down his HP. And the defense isn't really gonna help that much. It might help him survive in a tiny bit of way, but it's not really crazy. Anyway, when you slap that skill on him, it's basically GG's after like 10 seconds. You're gonna die. And the only reason why he's not higher up or in the actual list is because the defense stacks are gonna make it a bit difficult for him. But other than that, he's gonna easily be able to kill him. And that's cool. Anyway, that's it for my counters list. All of these units should work based on the traits that I've read, but please keep in mind that Bandai has a habit of accidentally putting the wrong traits in the previews, so it might be a little bit different when everything comes out. For example, if the debuffs are actually stronger than they actually seem, because I find it funny that Zoro Sanji still murder this guy. A Zoro Sanji that can read and knows to debuff him with Zoro and then switch to Sanji and kill him, not gonna struggle with this guy. But thanks for watching, y'all. Peace out. God bless you. Have fun.